This is a RWS original Diana Model 50. I'm going to redo the stock and also re-blue the steel because you can't really see it, but there is actually surface rust on this. Under the right light conditions you can see it. Now this is a .22 air rifle under lever, so you cock it by bringing the lever down, you open this up, you drop your pellet into there, you close it and you shoot. It's got a safety which is here. Now I've mounted a scope that is yet to be zeroed, and I have actually pulled this apart. I'll just reassemble it at the moment just for the sake of the video. But to dismantle this, there's a pin in here which is this one, and that goes right through to the other side, and on the other side you've got one of these. So if you use like a needle nose pliers, you can actually hold on to this while unscrewing that, and that comes out. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to push out a pin which is here, which is literally just a pin, and it just gets pushed out. And then underneath you actually undo another screw, another bolt in here. But once this has been taken off, you can then, hold on, how can I do this? Let's unlock that. And that comes down. And then that comes off like that. It's got like a little lug there which locks in place in here. Now, where is it? Just there. Right, once that's undone, this is undone, and that's been pushed out. There is also, let's use a torch that's not so bright. That pin just there. There's a little nut that holds that in place, and that's the little locking mechanism for the actual lever. And once that's been removed, and it looks like this, there's also a little brass washer that comes with it, which is that little brass washer there. That's the final bit to remove the upper from the lower. So I'll show you that now. Okay, so now you can remove the upper, and that's the locking bolt for the handle. And I've done a little bit of work inside this already. I'll show you that now. Okay, that there, here and here, was the Dial brand. Underneath that and that was a Barentine. So Barrettine? Okay. So this actually took less time and came off much easier than that. So I'm going to be using that one for the rest of the stock. So all of this has got to come off. Yeah, that looks nice, but it's got some bad scratches on it. It's got some dents, and as you can see there, this checkering, I don't know how they managed to do it, but it's actually inverted. So those are triangular holes rather than, you know, peaks with the lines being the valleys. This is the opposite. The lines are raised and the diamonds are holes. So it's visually it looks okay at first, but then once you realize, yeah, it doesn't have the same grip as normal checkering does. And all along here, as you see, it's pretty beat up. So there we go. Okay, let's stay. Okay, I also took off the rubber pad from the back of the stock and gave that a clean with isopropyl alcohol. It was only when I cleaned it I realised there was actually two items here. There was like a backing plate and then the rubber. Prior to cleaning, this thing was just crudded up. Still a bit of dust inside. There was holes, but I'm not too worried about it. There's some sort of hard plastic here and then rubber on the outside. Also the trigger guard, I took that off, and there was also a piece of white plastic between the rubber butt pad and the wood. I also removed the front sight and pulled it apart, gave it a clean, oiled it, and did the same with the iron sights. So they are now in tip-top condition. It's the same with all the other parts as well. I actually sprayed them with silicone oil. Okay, the top of the rifle stock along here, I added some of the stripper to it, and then I went downstairs and had my dinner, came back up and literally wiped it off. And to give you an idea, this is where it flowed over, so I dripped over just a little bit, and when I wiped it off it literally came back to bare wood without any issue whatsoever. No sanding required. Okay, I've just added a bit of this paint stripper to the side of the stock. Now, can you see this bit here? This exposed wood. Well, I did the top two runs of the stock just before. Then I went downstairs and had dinner and came back, and in that space of time it did its job. And I wiped it off with some tissue, and it literally came straight off. And that there was actually the bit that was dripping over the edge, and it took off all the varnish and all the stain in one hit, and just exposed bare wood underneath. So this stuff works really well. Okay. Almost finished. I did initially start by using a steel ruler to do this scraping, but found that it wasn't very flexible. So a plastic card does the job much better. So what I've been doing is all of the small awkward points first. Give it an initial coating and an initial scraping, and then giving it a second coat. And then coming back and doing that. And between doing this, I always clean the brush. Give it a basic wipe down so that it's ready to go for the next lot. That noise in the background is me watching videos on YouTube of guys doing exactly what I'm doing.
I'm using some nice free cloth to apply thin down Tru-Oil. And as you expect, it soaks into the emery at the top here really fast because that's emery's also soaking. So it's properly sealed. So I'm just applying.
So there we go. I've only got the other side underneath to do, and then the whole rifle's been done. That was one coat, believe it or not. I'll just take a little bit more and just give it another soaking. Let that sit for a couple of minutes and give it a wipe down. I'll tell you what, I'm pleased that I'm doing this, because you remember that horrible brown colour that it was beforehand? Well, look at the grain in that wood. That's beautiful. Okay, as you can tell, I'm in the shower room. Now I've sanded this back and I've made this little hook contraption. Sorry about that noise, that's the air vent. Because I'm going to give it the first coat of Tru-Oil. So I'm going to get started on that now, and I'll see you shortly. I'll let that hang until tomorrow afternoon and then give it a second coat. Okay, it's the following morning and I forgot a step, so I'm going to try it now before it's too late. I want to blacken the front of the stock just to give some contrast to match with this. So I've taped it off, I've selected the amount that I want. And what I'm doing is staining the wood with leather dye, because it's spirit based. So giving it a coat, letting it soak in, and giving that second coat. Because this streaks quite easily, make sure you go with the length of the stock, so it looks part of the grain of the wood. So allow that to dry for a few minutes, then do another coat. Okay, it's been a few days, multiple coats of oil, multiple sandings, and I've basically reassembled everything now. I've swapped scopes. I've put a Bushnell scope on this. I took the old Gamo off. I've just got to put the trigger guard back. Oops, head. No, that's a 3-star. Sorry, not 3-star, 3-side. And 4. put the rear stock pad back on. Cleaned up the white plastic liner that's between the stock pad and the stock. Okay. Pretty much that's it. Alright, I'll give you a closer look at it. Okay, here we go. This is after 7 coats, 7 sandings, and a lot of time. I don't know about you, but I believe it is much nicer. That old 80s brown chocolate coloured stain and varnish. It's a shame to hide a piece of wood that's just beautiful. And what I did here is, as I remember, I stained that with leather dye so that it matches the checkered grip, which matches the rear recoil pad. So I would say that is a success. This is my first time using Tru-Oil, and I can definitely tell you it's a good quality product. I particularly like that knot. That's come out really nice. So everyone, thanks for watching. It's been a long time since I put a video up, but I couldn't do this work and not showcase it. So this is an original Model 50 in .22 with a refinished stock. Alright everyone, thanks for watching.